Young people in this nation are suffering. People are graduating yearly and there's no job in this country. At the extent that our own people are suffering in Russia. At the extent that someone who is not even trained as a military is going to Russia just to be trained for a week or rather 9 days, apewe bunduki aende apigane vita kule Russia. That is bad. And guys, I don't know if you will help me in this. At this time, it is now our mandate to bring motion in parliament. And the motion that I'm pushing is that the employment limit in Kenya, the duration, let it be 10 years. Mtu afanye miaka zake 10 aende nyumbani so that wengine waingie in that employment space pia wafanye for 10 years waende home. These things of permanent, someone is getting job at the age of 25 afanye until atazeeka 60, roughly to almost that years in working is not something we are going to take it lightly. Let people work for 10 years waende nyumbani so that at least kila Mkenya aonje that employment fruits, that pain of education yenye ameenda shule kusoma. We fanya miaka zako 10, mwingine pia akuje afanye zake 10 aende nyumbani. So that those millions that are graduating yearly, monthly, at least wapate space in this employment. But what is happening in Russia is not something that you are going to entertain. Guys, before we listen to this exposure, how Kenyans are suffering in Russia from Kimani Ichung'wah, just in case this is your first time coming across us, kindly please consider subscribing to this channel. Whenever you're producing a video like this one, YouTube will automatically giving you a notification. And guys, just listen from Kimani Ichung'wah.
The ongoing Russia-Ukraine war continues to trigger the recruitment of foreign fighters by Russia military through rogue recruitment agencies and individuals in Kenya. The rogue agencies are targeting ex-military, ex-police officers, as well as civilians aged between the mid-20s to 50 years who are desperate for job opportunities abroad. The agencies have been enticing Kenyans, promising them lucrative terms of service, such as salaries of about 350,000 shillings per month and hefty bonuses between 900,000 shillings and 1.2 million Kenya shillings, as well as eventually being issued with Russian citizenship. So far, over 1,000 Kenyans have been recruited and departed to fight in the Russia-Ukraine war. The Kenyans leave the country on tourist visas to join the Russian army through Istanbul, Turkey, as well as Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. However, due to increased interception of these travelers at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the recruits have changed tact and are traveling through Uganda, DRC, and South Africa to avoid detection. Additionally, the agencies have been colluding with rogue airport staff from the Directorate of Immigration Services, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Anti-Narcotics Unit, and National Employment Authority to facilitate the recruits without interception at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. They have also been colluding with staff at the Russian Embassy in Nairobi and the Kenyan Embassy in Moscow, who have been issuing the recruits with Russian visit visas. Equally, some civilians who are working in Qatar, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Jordan, and Asian countries took the lucrative deal and traveled to Russia. That is to say, Honorable Speaker, that all the close to 1,000 Kenyans who are estimated to have to be in Russia have not all traveled from Kenya. Some are those who are already in the diaspora in the countries aforementioned who have since moved to go and fight in Russia. Notably, as of February 2026, the following is the status of some of the Kenyans who went to Russia. 39 are hospitalized, 30 have been repatriated, 28 are missing in action, 35 deployed in camps or bases, 89 are on the front line, 1 is detained, and 1 has completed the contract. Global Face Human Resources Limited, a private recruitment agency located along Koinange Street in Nairobi, owned by one Festus Arasa Omwamba, and his number is given here. The agency is registered under a number that is given and was registered on the 15th of February 2024 and currently not accredited by the National Employment Authority. The agency has actively conducted recruitment drives in Kenya targeting skilled and semi-skilled youth for foreign employment as using the Kazi Maju initiative to present itself as a legitimate government-endorsed recruiter. The recruits depart the country on tourist visas to clandestinely join the Russian military. Their travel routes are through Istanbul and Abu Dhabi in the UAE, as mentioned. Several victims have returned to Kenya either maimed or having managed to escape from the war zone through the assistance of the Kenyan embassy in Moscow. Majority of the recruited Kenyans indicated that they were made to sign contracts by the agency and an unnamed overseas employment support agency based in Moscow, Russia. Upon arrival in Moscow, they were taken to military camps, trained for 3 weeks, and subsequently deployed to the battlefields against Ukraine. They indicate that they have since shared intelligence with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, who have since conducted a raid at one of the identified holding bases in Great Wall Apartments at the river on the 24th of September, where 22 victims, all aged between 24 and 38 years, were being held pending travel. They were under the care of a Mr. Edward Kamaugi Tuku and a Mr. Joel Mushiri Ngugi, alias Caleb. It was further established that Mikhail Layapin, alias Sagevich, a Russian national and holder of passport number given, is linked to Festus's trafficking activities. His social media presence under the handle at Mishayalpin identifies him as a founder of Mwaki Kenya and an African markets enthusiast. Mikhail was arrested on the 25th of September 2025 and repatriated to Russia on the 26th of September 2025, and an alert to monitor order placed against him. That is to make sure that if he attempts to get into the country again, they will be able to detect. And reports already indicate that he's planning to sneak back to Kenya. Inspo Care Health Limited, situated near Muthaiga Square along Thika Road, Superhighway, and Universal Trends Medical and Diagnostic Center, located near City Hall within Nairobi CBD, were being used to conduct medical examinations for the potential recruits. The recruitment of Kenyans to fight in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war is exposing Kenya to various risks, endangering lives of innocent young people, and has the potential to cause diplomatic tiffs between Kenya and the two warring countries. The National Intelligence Service will continue to share actionable intelligence aimed at mitigating risks associated with Kenyans seeking overseas jobs. And they have already, as indicated, shared that with intelligence with the National Police Service through the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. And in the report that the DCI has filed, they have also collaborated what the National Intelligence Service is saying, that they indeed received intelligence in September of last year, and the DCI through the Transnational Organized Crimes Unit, TOKU, received that intelligence that Kenyans were suspected to be victims of human trafficking, were being held at Great Wall Garden, Mavoko Sub-County. They arrested the people named, and Honorable Speaker, during the raid, they also recovered 39 unsigned employment contracts, 16 passports belonging to the victims, 2 mobile phones belonging to the suspect, and a cook, 2 laptops, 1 HP printer, and a motor vehicle whose registration number is given, believed to have been used to transport the victims. Court orders were subsequently obtained to exploit the mobile phones and laptops, and analysis ongoing, and also to acquire M-PESA and Airtel money statements that have since been received, acquire bank statements from Equity and KCB, and responses from the banks have been received by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Honorable Speaker, they say that investigations established that recruitment was conducted through an agency named Global Face Human Resources, just as the National Intelligence Service has collaborated And the other agency that was found to be conducting similar recruitment is Talent Shepherd Agency, which is, again, just like the first agency, not registered under the National Employment Authority. Several brokers and agents were identified and are all under active investigations. On financial investigations, Honorable Speaker, 17 victims confirmed payments via M-PESA and bank transfers amounting to a total of 975,800 shillings. Additionally, 3 returnees confirmed to have paid Kenya shillings 640,000. Total confirmed payments so far are Kenya shillings 1.615800 million shillings. Bank accounts belonging to Edward Kamau Gituku and Festus Arasa Omwamba have since been frozen. On investigations, again, they have established the role of Festus Arasa Omwamba, and that is a gentleman, the honorable member for Kilgoris furnished the house with last week. An investigation established that Festus Arasa Omwamba is believed to be the Kenyan-based mastermind and is associated with the other agents in Moscow. Festus organized accommodation, Russian bank accounts, and coordination with employers in Russia. Victims were promised bonuses ranging from Kenya shillings 910,000 to Kenya shillings 1.2 million shillings. Victims were required to open Russian bank accounts upon arrival. A stop order has been placed through immigration against Festus Arasa Omwamba. However, he has filed an anticipatory bail under High Court case number HCCR, miscellaneous case E110/2025 at Milimani High Court. The matter is scheduled for directions on 30th March 2026. The Office of the Attorney General is handling the case. On return victims or returnees, they say 3 victims were rescued to Kenya: Mr. Vincent Odhiambo Awiti, Duncan Moogi, Stanley Mongai Kamau. From their statements, Russian bank accounts were opened in Moscow. They underwent 9 days of weapons and explosives training. Only 9 days. They were deployed to active war front areas. One Kenyan, Eric Korinko, was shot and unfortunately lost his life. Others remain injured or missing in Russia. The pending actions is 1, arrest of additional brokers and agents. 2 is collaboration with Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs to trace victims abroad. 3 is recording statement of mentally unstable returnees. 4 is completion of forensic analysis of the electronic devices that they have obtained court orders as indicated in the report by DCI. And 5 is receipt of the pending bank reports. The name of Simon Diema Kitereswa has not featured in their investigations, but analysis of documents and intelligence continues. I think this Mr. Ndiema is the one the member for Kilgoris had asked about. On the challenges that the DCI notes, he says 2 medical facilities, Inspo Care Medical Center and Universal Trends Medical and Diagnostic Center obtained a High Court injunction restraining investigators from accessing victim medical records. Anticipatory bail application by Festus Omwamba is pending determination. The matter against Mr. Edward Kamau Gituku is active before Kahawa Law Courts and is scheduled for mention on the 19th of February 2026 for pre-trial conference and disclosure. And they conclude by saying investigations have established the existence of an organized transnational trafficking syndicate recruiting Kenyan citizens under false pretenses and deploying them to active conflict zones in Russia. While significant progress has been made, investigations remain active, particularly regarding the arrest of additional suspects, forensic analysis of digital evidence, rescue of victims already trafficked, resolution of legal barriers affecting evidence collection. Your continued support and interagency cooperation in this matter is highly encouraged and recommended. Honorable Speaker, if you listened to those two reports, both by the National Intelligence Service and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, clearly they seem to be on top of the game and have been able to track the agencies that are recruiting Kenyans. But notably, Honorable Speaker, is what they mentioned, that there has been collusion between officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the Directorate of Immigration Services, and the National Employment Authority. And I think, Honorable Speaker, what I would urge that you direct is, one, that the ministries concerned, the Ministry of Interior, State Department for Immigration Services, must be able to pinpoint who are these particular officers and hold them to account. The same with DCI. They must be able to hold to account those officers who are colluding with criminals. Same with the National Employment Authority. And also, more telling is a collusion by officers at the Russian embassy and the Kenyan embassy in Moscow. Our ambassador in Moscow must be able to identify the officers within the embassy that may have colluded with these criminals to facilitate the travel of innocent Kenyans to be able to go and work in the front line in a battle area. And Honorable Speaker, government offices are not to be used for criminal activities. And therefore, our embassy must be beyond reproach. It must be the place where Kenyans in that country or anywhere in the vicinity can seek refuge. But it can't be a place that a few officers within the ministry facilitate criminals to lie to innocent Kenyans who may not know the circumstances that are there in Russia. Therefore, I would urge, Honorable Speaker, that we direct the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the National Intelligence Service, as they have indicated, to identify the particular officers, whether it is at the Russian embassy, our embassy in Moscow, or at JKIA, or within the ministries of immigration, the State Department of Immigration and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and hold those particular officers to account. Because they have made other Kenyans lose lives, others suffer in a battlefront. And of course, the emotional turmoil that the families of these young men, and I presume they're all young men, young men who have gone to Russia are going through. And we watch them every day, Honorable Speaker, on national TV, families crying out. To Honorable Speaker, is to ask the State Department for Immigration to be more vigilant. Because you see, when JKIA is closely monitored, you hear now they have moving through South Africa, Uganda, and other neighboring countries. And that explains, Honorable Speaker, why you see a number of the victims, many of them are from the western part of Kenya, because of the proximity of the border to Uganda and the other countries on the west of our country, where they can now get through, even those who are going to South Africa, to be able to leave the country. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, let me take this opportunity to urge Kenyans. Please, the National Employment Authority portal or website details which agencies are licensed. Whenever anybody seeks to recruit you for kazi maju, confirm with the National Employment Authority website on their portal, or just place a call to them and confirm whether that is a legitimately licensed agency. Because if you are recruited by an agency that is licensed, then the NEA is able to follow up with that agency. But if you go to rogue agencies, then they will call you, they will take your money, as you've heard, Kenyans have lost their money, and they will take you to those battlefronts. But those that are legitimate under NEA will never take you to battlefronts. They will take you for legit jobs or legitimate jobs abroad, or what is called kazi maju. And I have seen the Cabinet Secretary for Labor, the Honorable Mkuu Our, in many occasions explain to Kenyans how to go about getting kazi maju. And it is never through these rogue agencies. So please just go through the NEA portal and use those legitimate agencies as you look for jobs outside the country. Otherwise, many people will take advantage of you, and you may end up in those battlefronts, end up getting maimed, hospitalized, like those 39 who are said to be hospitalized in Russia, or even lose your life. And that will leave your family and many of us in this country with a lot of emotional turmoil. Honorable Speaker, with that.
That is bad, actually. That is something that we should condemn. And going by my first suggestion, wacha watu wafanye miaka 10 waende nyumbani, wengine wakuje miaka 10 waende nyumbani, at least tupate kazi Kenya. Wengine tunasema kwenda majuu, but majuu ni hatari kabisa. You better remain in your country. Majuu pia it has advantage if you get the legit agents, but if you get the wrong agent, it's more of hell. What is your thought, guys? Drop it in the comment section. I'll be doing my best to read it and giving you a response. And with that, guys, peace and love. And with that, guys, thank you for choosing Kenya Political Brief as your primary news platform, more so on politics. Kindly please share this video to a friend. If politics is your passion, this is the place you really wish to be. Kindly subscribe. Bye bye.